Hello and welcome to Slate, a channel for intelligent and curious people like you who are searching for human sexuality in the age of artificial intelligence. And in this channel, we usually try to find the best possible solution of a problem, rather, best possible, try to find the best possible answer to a question. And today's question is why data sensitivity is so important for humanoid robots. Yes, I talked about cloud storage, I talked about local storage and hybrid approach, but it was a brief introduction. And I talked about also the security risks and how to mitigate those risks in cloud storage. Okay, but data sensitivity is something else. What is data sensitivity? Let us try to understand it first. Human robots, by virtue of their close interaction with humans, often collect and process a vast amount of sensitive personal data. Right. This data can range from biometric information, that means facial recognition, retina recognition, or voice patterns, to health data like vital signs, medicine schedules, and personal preferences and behavioral patterns. Right. So we will talk about it. It's a very important video, and I hope for the if you really want to know about your humanoid robot partner, this video will come to immense help. As long as security, if you are concerned about your security, data security. But before we proceed, let me tell you one thing. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you have already subscribed, tons of thanks. I hope in the future I get that support. And finally, although I talk about human sexuality, emerging psychological facts about human sexuality, but there is no vulgarity in this channel, and I don't promote any kind of vulgarity to this channel. All I talk about is scientific data, especially technology, especially those humanoid robot partners, love dolls, or sex robots, whatever you want to call them, are concerned. I talk about only about technology, right? So there are three types of data security and data sensitivity that we are concerned about. Number one is what are the nature of sensitive data? That is number one. Number two is what are the risks of data breach, and number three is what is the role of encryption and access controls in keeping those data secure. Right? We'll come to these points step by step. Number one, nature of sensitive data. Personality identifiable information, personally identifiable information, or PII. It's a very important point in our technology, especially in machine learning and artificial intelligence is concerned. This includes names, addresses, social security numbers, and other data that can uniquely identify an individual. Number two is protected health information, or PHI. Medical records, diagnosis, treatment plans, and other health-related data is very important, right? Number three is biometric data. That means unique physical characteristics such as fingerprints, facial recognition, retina recognition, and ID or ID scans, whatever you want to call them. These are very sensitive and very sensitive data, right? And finally, the behavioral data. That means patterns of your behavior, your preferences, and habits that can reveal personal information. Because when you buy a robot partner and take it to your home, and your behavioral patterns, it studies and it keeps those data in its CPU. Therefore, whenever this sensitive data is breached, there are a lot of damages uh, in store for you. So the risks come, the risks of the data breach. Number one, identify theft, right? Misuse of PII, that means personally identifiable information, that means names, addresses, etc., social security numbers, etc. Misuse of PII for financial gain or fraudulent activities are rampant. Therefore, you need to identify theft. Okay. Number two, medical identity theft. That means unauthorized access to PHI. That means your protected health information can lead to fraudulent claims and financial loss. So be careful about it. Privacy violations. Exposure of personal preferences and behavioral data can lead to embarrassment, discrimination, or even stalking. Therefore, be careful about this, right? Number four, and the final one, is reputational damage. Whenever hackers get those data for both the individual and the robot's manufacturer or owner, it's a very big risk, because reputational damage is in the store, and you cannot avoid that. So, what is the role of encryption and access controls? Here comes the most important point, because to mitigate these risks, we need a robust encryption and access controls. These are paramount, because whenever we encrypt data at rest, that means all stored data should be encrypted using storing algorithms. That means AES 256. I talked about it in a very brief introduction. I'll talk about it in great detail later. To protect it from unauthorized access, even if the system is compromised. Data in transit, that means data transmitted between the robot and its cloud or other systems, should be encrypted using protocols like TLS or SSL certificates needed to prevent eavesdropping, right? Role-based access control, that means RBAC, we call it RBAC. That means limit access to data based on user roles and responsibilities, right? Least privilege principle, that means when you use your robots, grant users only the minimum necessary access to perform their tasks. You only handle it, okay? Don't allow others to handle that robot, right? Multi-factor authentication, MFA, we call it MFA. It requires multiple forms of verification for accessing sensitive data. It's very important. And regular access reviews, that is also very important. Periodically assess and update user performance. And data minimization, that means collect and store only the data necessary for the robot's function. These are all steps that you can take to mitigate these risks. I mean, the risks of data breach, which is very, very important. So, by implementing these measures, organizations can significantly reduce the risk of data breaches and protect the privacy of individuals interacting with humanoid robots. So, keep this in your mind whenever you think about buying a robot partner. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Stay safe and take care.